Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Ready Coders. So today I am just going to explain with the producer consumer problem with lock, blocking queue and executor framework. So in previous video I have shown you the producer consumer problem with synchronized block, synchronized this keyword. But now since Java has introduced locks, blocking queue, executor framework, and there are more other like one completable feature, but I have covered here three things: locks, blocking queue and executor framework. So first let's get started with producer consumer with lock, and let's dig in the code. With locks in Java, we get multiple advantages. As we know, synchronized block is explicit locking, where thread will have to handle how the external object, which or you can say shared object, is synchronized, so that it can be consistent, data is consistent, and those asset property is maintained with that shared object. Multiple threads are accessing it, so that is on the thread itself. But now with lock, it is explicit handling. So what do you mean by explicit handling? Here the shared object has to, the object which is shared between multiple threads, has to take care of how it should release access to different threads, so that everything will happen in the synchronized manner, data is consistent, there is no issue of thread locks, waiting, starvation and all these things. So with locks we got this explicit locking functionality, and it is more granular. At we can see, like, it will provide multiple kinds of lock, multiple new conditions, multiple phases where we can add lock and remove lock. So it's basically free from the thread itself. And here we have multiple method which is provided by Java to avoid starvation, adding timeouts time, and try lock condition which will uh, try to achieve lock without blocking the current thread. So these all things happen. Let's see the code. There's a message object which is the shared objects. Like, this is the main class. In this main class we have created a thread, producer and a consumer, and this is the shared message object where we are producer will place the message and consumer will consume it. So we are passing this message object to these producer and consumer threads, and then just calling consumer dot start, producer dot start. So now in this message object we have implemented lock. So this message will have a string message and a lock. We have right now used re-entrant lock because its method is very similar to the synchronized lock, so their implementation is very simple, similar to synchronized lock. And now, as I was talking about conditions, lock provide multiple conditions, so I am using here two conditions. So when shared object is empty, that is there is no message. When shared object is full, so there are two conditions where synchronization needs to happen. So first what we will do, initially I am making message as null. So when get method is called from any thread, I will lock this shared object so that other thread cannot access it. And then if message is null, so that means shared object is empty, so I will do await. It's similar to wait and notify method in synchronized block. So we will it keeping it await. So what happens, this message will be in the blocked state, and other thread can acquire the lock now. So if there are n number of threads which are behaving as a consumer and trying to call get method, in for all those methods this will happen, await will be called. So we will be looping till I got the object is not null. And once it is not null, we will just get the message, make it null again, I mean like removing the data, and then now signaling shared object dot full. So why we are signaling shared object dot full? Because we will see that later. So in the finally method, since we are using, we need to use try catch. There is one thing which need to note with the log, we need to use try catch, try finally. So just in case there is interrupted exception, I can just do log dot unlock, so that it will not lead to starvation, like keep waiting this message in the log blocked state. Okay, so now coming to set message, again if a producer come and want to set some message, it will come to log.log, and then again we will check if message is not null, then only so if message is not null, we know that there's already a message, so we cannot place the message. So what we do, shared object is already full, we will just await it. So when we can place a message, when shared object is not full. So when shared object is not full, when it is consumed by another thread. So that's what happening here in the above method. Shared object is full and its data is getting consumed. That's why we are doing here signal, because now the data is consumed. The one condition, the thread which is waiting on the condition like it is full, I cannot put the value, it will get signaled here and then it will start placing the value. So that's how the connection is. Now in the same way there's again a connection for empty object also, because since here it is empty, it cannot consume. So once it's like it is not, it is empty, it's not full, I will just place the message and signal shared object dot empty, so that the message which is waiting for shared object to be full will start to consume. So that's how the lock conditions relate each other. And here the same producer with lock. Since now we are using lock, we don't need to implement synchronize thread wait and all these things notify in our thread. It's a simple use the message object and just call set message, and I'm just iterating it 5 times so that when I run the program it will just run 5 times. Similar with consumer lock, just calling the get message and try and catch for interrupted exception. So if I run, as you can see here, first it comes inside consumer, sorry, and then shared object is empty, so it cannot consume. Then it goes inside producer, object is placed. When object is placed, it's inside producer again. So see here, since object is already placed, we are getting shared object is full. So now the consumer which is blocked, since we have called here signal method, so the consumer which is blocked because of empty consume the message, and again when it comes to the consumer it is empty since, so it is blocked again. So when this is consumed, this is in the blocked state, so it gets the signal after getting consumed here, and it is placing the object. So that's how it is getting synchronized. So nowhere it's happening like object is placed and we are getting no object is there. So in this next example we will see producer consumer with blocking queue. Now let's see this producer consumer problem with blocking queue. So as we have seen till now with lock and synchronize methods, we have to take care of either in thread or in the shared object. We have to take care of locking, releasing the lock, making synchronize access, awaiting, or just wait and notify. We just have to control, I mean, take care of the control from one thread to another thread, how thread is how shared object is accessed, and how it is in the synchronized method, how data will be consistent. So these are the things we have to take care of while designing multiple threads working on a shared object. But blocking queue makes it one step ahead. So what does it do? We don't need it, it's also an explicit kind of locking mechanism, but it just release developer from the worry to take care of synchronization, because blocking queue has these methods like put, take, which are thread synchronized, thread safe basically. So we don't need to worry about when to lock or where to release, how to call, like these all things. So let's go to the code. So we have this blocking queue. I have specified one here because this blocking queue will take integer and only one integer can be placed. For the sake of simplicity, just go with one. We can increase the size, and there are multiple implementation of types of blocking queue also available. They have different properties. So I have just created thread producer and thread consumer, passing this shared object queue, and then just starting them. So let's go to those thread implementation. So let's see this producer thread, same like setting shared object here. Now in the run method I have added this iteration for 5 so that it will only iterate till 5. And now just see here the code and how fine it is. This queue is empty, then q dot put I, else just print already have message. So I'm not using anywhere log, not even checking condition anywhere. I'm just doing, if it is empty, just place it. So like I write a single thread code, just like that. In the same in the consumer thread, just if queue is not empty, just take it, else no message. But it is synchronized since we have created two threads producing consuming at the same time. Okay, let's run it and see the output. If we check the output, see inside the producer, inside the consumer, producer has not placed anything, so inside the consumer it is no message. It's again go inside the consumer, again no message. It's again go inside the consumer, again no message. Here our producer has still not placed the object, so we are getting no message. Now when message is placed, it's again go inside the producer. But since message is already placed, producer cannot place anything, it is blocked. Now message is received and it's again go inside the consumer. Since there is no message, it is blocked, and again here message placed is 1. Then again inside the producer message received. So everything is synchronized here in that way automatically because blocking queue has this implementation in its class and method. This time let's see what producer consumer will do with executor framework. So let's start producer consumer with executor service. So basically what executor service it's not a synchronization mechanism like input implicit or explicit like lock and queue and then synchronize keyword, but it is like a framework which will help us to manage thread pool. So if our application has more than, like let's say have thousands of thread, then creating each thread and then on closing creating each thread, start them, run them, and once it is done, closing it and deleting the memory area and then shutting it down is the major task, because each thread has require its own memory to share the to save the local variable at method area and other things. And they also have to handle shared objects also. So it's like if you have thousands of thread, you have to create thousands of threads. So suppose let's say user uh, increases the number of threads, the number of memory area is increased, and it's not like that every thread is executing. Some of them can be in the waiting state, some of them can be in the blocked state. So at that time, managing these all things efficiently, handling the memory leaks, data leaks and all, executor framework will help us in that. So what it does, it just create a pool of threads, let's say 10 threads, and when you submit 100 threads in that pool, only 10 will be executing at a time, so other threads will be waiting, so they can be switched uh, concurrently and interleaved manner, so that all threads will get chance to execute, no one will get starved, and we will not be wasted out of memory. So let's go to the executor framework. So executor framework actually has nothing to do with synchronization. We are still using the blocking queue. It just handle the huge number of threads. So let's say if I have multiple number of producers, multiple number of consumers, then instead of creating those instances of producer, instances of consumer in the main class, and then starting them and handling their interrupted exception if they are in wait state, blocked state, so managing them and then closing them properly, deleting the memory area so that our application performance is well. So instead of doing these all by myself, I can use executor framework. Simply here I have created two threads, so that's very small and it will not serve that purpose which I was talking about. But yeah, for example, and also there are multiple kinds of thread pool which we can use based on the behavior which we want. So what I am doing here is I have just created here a runnable task, and like in blocking queue, placing the value, increasing the value, and then just thread is going to be sleeved. In the same consumer task will consume the value in the from the blocking queue, and then just sleep for some time. And what I did here, executor dot execute, so this will just start executing those thread and shut down once all those tasks are done. But since I have run it while true, so it will not shut down by itself. Let's run this program. So see the manner in which it is sorry, so see the manner in which it is getting generated: consume, produce, produce, consume, produce. So in a very synchronized manner it is working. So that's all about producer consumer with the three approaches which we have seen in the code. And I know, like, I have not given you very basic details about how log, blocking queue, and executor framework is, how they are designed, in which Java version, what are the different type of implementation, basic interface class, different methods available over there, different approaches. So I have not gone through them. I have just given you a way to start off for the code using these patterns and producer consumer example. So I hope you enjoyed them and got some brief overview about how to handle producer consumer from the traditional manner, instead of traditional manner, that is synchronous block, how to handle it in with a different construct in the Java. Thank you.